How old am I?
Hmm.
47.
You need to get somewhere with the lights in the front of you. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So, you have a question, or do you want? Or you? Because the topic is it time to expand options?
I would say definitely yes.
Okay. Yes, it is.
I think for me it is. Um, I know for the past maybe
You
five
think it's
years.
time for you to expand your options
Yes,
to non-black men?
of course.
You have any children?
One.
How old?
She's 21.
How tall are you?
5'7".
Just size?
I think I'm a 10.
How much did you weigh the last time you weighed yourself?
187. Are you serious?
What options do you have at half 100 and almost 200 pounds?
It's all in the right places. I'm solid. I used to be a track runner, so a lot
What
of.
options do you have to expand at half 100 and almost 200 pounds?
Oh my gosh! So what options? And that's what I'm trying to figure out.
Hmm.
To be honest with you,
What women who are almost 50 years old have a lot of options?
we don't have a lot of options.
So why do you think you can expand them outside of your race?
Well, because lately I've isolated myself only to my race. I've never really
You,
dated
you
outside
haven't
my
you
race.
haven't isolated yourself. Those are your only choices.
Um, I would probably say yes and no.
So non-black men of
Hmm.
value approach you.
I would say yes.
When was the last time a non-black man approached you in public with the intention of meeting you and taking you out on a romantic evening?
I would probably say probably a year ago.
And where'd you go?
At that time, I was not interested in dating.
No, 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 no. That's
I
bullshit.
did okay. No,
That's
I'm not
bullshit.
bullshitting you.
That
Like
is
I'm just
bullshit.
watching your
No,
show.
no,
That's
no,
what
no.
they
I
do.
asked a very specific question, man.
Okay.
Were you single at the time?
Yes, I've been single for a while.
Right. So I asked you, when was a non-black man of value approached you with the intention of taking you out on a romantic date? You said a year ago.
Right.
How do you know he was interested in taking you out on a romantic date if you didn't go?
Well, because I was asked,
By
and
whom?
yes, I was asked,
By
but at that,
whom? By him?
yes,
Did he already know you?
yes, we were acquainted with each other.
How were you acquainted?
We've known each other for a while and
So, in other
conversed.
words, see how you understand, guys? I said approached. Somebody that you know doesn't approach you. Approach means the implication is a
Oh,
stranger.
stranger. Yeah. Okay. Well, no, I have not had that. Yeah.
Right.
Okay. I agree. Okay. I just got it wrong. So
I mean, I'm curious though. Why do you think the solution lies in non-black men at your age?
you know what? I'm not saying that that is the solution. I'm just saying that maybe I should try something new and
Huh?
try to date something, outside of my race. I would love to date a black man. Like my father,
But ma'am, you said it's time for me to expand my options.
yes. Because
Uh,
um, I'm still single trying to date in my race. So now I'm just thinking outside of the box. Should I date outside of my race and see if I get a different result? Or should I
you don't
stay
have those
within my race?
options.
Okay.
I mean, I don't understand. It's like saying, let me see which Ivy League school I would go to. Princeton, Yale, Columbia, Brown, and you can't get in a junior college.
Oh, I've been to a junior college. And I
At
have
50
my.
years old, you should understand the analogy. It's an analogy, a
Okay.
comparison. Seriously?
Okay.
Man, why are you postulating things that don't really are possibilities?
So you don't. I mean, I not. So you don't.
You don't have non-black men of value approaching you to date you.
Okay.
So how can you expand that option?
And I wanted to give it a try and see what happens.
If no one's approaching you, how can you try it?
Well, like I said, I could say part of that is my responsibility, which I am going to take ownership with. I know with me, I do isolate myself.
Do you work? Do you work from home?
Yes. And I've been working from home for the past 5 years before.
So you don't. How often do you leave the house?
I mainly leave the house mainly for leisure, like if I go dancing. I love to hike, so I hike.
How often do you grocery shop?
I grocery shop once a week.
Well, you don't go to the gym.
Oh, yes, I do. Yes, but you gotta remember, I'm all solid. Like I don't have fat really, but
how many times a week do you go to the gym?
I go at least 3 times a week, and I hike on the weekends.
And you go to a local gym, or is it a woman's gym?
I'm open to. I go to a personal trainer, and I go to a regular gym. But most of my weight I put on during quarantine.
But if you go to the gym, man, that's public.
Oh yeah.
And then you go grocery shopping once a week.
Yes.
That's at least 4 times a week you're in public.
Okay. And I go to church. I do go to church.
That's more times. So that means you're not locked in the house. So if non-black men found you appealing, they could approach you.
They could.
But they don't.
If I look.
But they don't.
Right, and they don't. And I don't understand why.
Because they don't find you attractive.
Okay, I mean that's fine.
I want you guys to understand that. This is the black girl magic. These women have been pumped so much to where it's like I gave you the Ivy League example.
Oh my God. Okay.
And you're still talking about, well, I still want to expand my options to Ivy League.
I didn't say Ivy League. I just said to other.
God damn it! I gave an example. Are you? Oh Jesus! I gave an example. Do you want me to explain the example again?
No, you did not. I get your example.
Well, then stop acting silly, because it's going to go off the rails. I'm trying to have a conversation, and you're acting like you don't know what I'm talking about.
I do know what you're talking about.
Why don't you just deal with the reality, ma'am, that you don't have non-black men approaching you, and it's not likely that it's going to happen, especially at your age.
Okay.
This is not how it works. Especially men do they have any value, because we tend to be more race loyal the older we get and the more we are socioeconomic status. What's going on with your audio? Am I on speakerphone?
I have you on the speaker. I don't have anything in my ear.
Okay. When was the last time you had a relationship?
It's last time I had a committed relationship, I could say it was 5 years ago.
When was the last time you had sex?
There
you go. A relationship 5 years ago, sex 2 years ago. Effectively, you're kind of dead from the waist down. You say you don't get out to socialize or whatever. You said you had somebody that you were familiar with, and he approached you and you turned it down.
And I have reasons behind that, but
whatever they are, ma'am.
You know,
the only common denominator in your dating history is you and your inability to connect with anybody.
I can agree to that when it comes to dating. Yes.
Okay, so how we got down this crooked path is the notion that a jagged pill like you're describing should expand your options. What does a man's race have to do with your situation?
And I'm not saying that a man's race have to do anything with my situation. I'm just saying that I've never given that given that an opportunity to try to date out of my race. So just to have that available, like I want to leave that option open and available if that opportunity did come.
Okay. If it
That's
makes you
all.
feel, sure. Not really reality, but fine. Well, why aren't you actively trying to put yourself out here?
Oh, now, to be honest, yes, now I am. And I do find
But
myself
you have a 21-year-old,
21,
and you're 40 what?
47.
So why have you just kind of given up?
Like in dating, I don't know.
Because
Well,
this happens a lot with our generation.
you know,
Our women seem to really focus a lot on their career, and then they'll focus on raising their child. And once the child gets to be 18 and 21, you got women in their mid 40s, early 50s with no real relationship skills,
right,
thinking you can still date like you did in your 20s.
right. So, and I know that's the part of my life that I damaged. I take full responsibility of that because I was too afraid coming out of the relationship that I was in, and I did not want to be damaged goods to somebody
How
else.
long ago was that relationship over?
With my daughter's father or the 5-year relationship?
And whichever one you said was damaged, I'm assuming your daughter's father.
I would say both of them were, very hurtful relationships. My daughter's father after I had my daughter, I had no relationships with him afterwards. And then the other relationship, that was
So
5 years ago.
I'm curious. Let me switch gears.
Okay.
What do you tell your daughter when it comes to relationships and to rank them and their priority?
That has always been a struggle for me, to tell you the truth.
What do you tell her?
Go ahead.
What do you tell her?
I tell her the things that I wish I
Is a
would have done.
relationship, do you tell her to prioritize relationships?
No, I don't. I'm gonna tell you, yes, I don't.
So basically you're dooming her too.
And I think I do that, and I think that I do tell her to prioritize that.
Yeah, but you don't do it. But she doesn't see you doing it.
Right. And I know that
So
too.
basically, and the reason I brought this up is because people with only children, especially with daughters or having one daughter, those daughters tend to end up jacked up. I did a show talk about our modern mothers destroying their daughters, and they are, because most daughters look at their mothers and like, well, damn, she doesn't talk about relationships like they're positive. It's all fear-based. She doesn't teach me anything, hasn't taught me anything. Let's see. Is your daughter a good student?
Well, she's not in school right now, but when
Was she a good student in high school?
Yeah. She was average.
Mm-hmm. When you speak to your daughter, how often do you contact her, or does she contact you?
My daughter still live at home.
Okay. 21?
Yes.
What is she doing?
Well, she just got her CNA license, and now she's working on her RN license. So I've given my daughter...
You talk to your daughter about your relationship problems?
Yes, I do. Because now I'm noticing her...
Is she like your best friend then?
Yeah, me and our daughter talk.
So basically what you're creating is called a mother wound.
What do you mean by that?
Mother wound. Hold your emotional baggage, make my mother feel better, listen to her problems, agree with her opinions, never say no, be a best friend. Talk about this mother-daughter attachment style, because ultimately, man, daughters see, we're used to faulting fathers. And women who are not happy with their dating lives tend to not make it look appealing to their daughters. So their daughters tend to end up like, well, damn. It's not like you talk about men in a good or glamorizing way or anything. It's like, well, men are something to be avoided or leery of. Huh?
I've never done that to her.
Well, whether you do it, whether you say it or not, you don't have good things to say about men in relationships. You're living life off grid for the most part. So if women, okay, if your daughter saw you with the men or talking about how great men are to have around, why men are so valuable and so important, and what you should do to make a man happy because men are so special, her outlook on manhood and relationships would be very different than get your degree, go to school, get your CNA, get out here. And like you said, relationships are not a priority. So basically you're teaching your daughter to grow up and be you alone.
No, well, the thing is, Kevin, is that I didn't push that on my daughter to make it a priority, but I do feel that she needs a level of education to be able to take care of herself.
Exactly what I just said.
Right. So my thing is with her.
Again, they make their daughters carbon copies of them, and they give their daughters fear, scarcity, and lack. Their success, your daughter's success, is not in a man. It's in a job and an education.
But I've always told my daughter that
it is not you have taught your daughter like so many women taught. Okay, we teach our kids by what we say, but also what we do. Has your daughter ever had a serious boyfriend?
She did have one after she graduated.
How old?
She was about 19, between 18 and 19.
And how long were they together?
It didn't last that long, about maybe six months. It didn't last that long at all.
She's 21 years old and lives at home.
Mm-hmm.
So your daughter, it's called sister daughters. Okay. Your daughter is like your sister.
No, I'm mom.
Okay. If you talk to your daughter about your personal problems, that's not what moms do.
This is what I do with my daughter. I do with her what's age appropriate, or if I feel the conversation is needed to be had. So if my daughter came to me,
what do you tell your daughter men are for?
I tell my daughter about what men are for: to be, providers, to be a support system, to be a companionship. I tell my daughter about
men. And what does your daughter see you mirror? What does your daughter see you?
You know what? And I'm guilty of that. Like I sit back.
Thank you. Stop, breathe.
Right. I do think about that.
Breathe. Stop, breathe. Stop and breathe.
Yeah. Sorry. I do.
Stop and breathe. Stop and breathe. You have told your daughter a bunch of stuff that you ain't living. And she's seen mama live a life off the grid.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
And I'm not disagreeing with you, Kevin, at all.
But what I'm saying is, when I said sister daughter, it's like, no, I'm mom. No, your sister. You've taught.
Well, maybe because I don't see it that way.
Okay, like it or not, you ain't my first rodeo. And the bottom line is, this is important because we don't start having more women recognize what they're doing to their daughters are going to end up living their lives. Your daughter is on the path to becoming an independent woman. No man. And what do you think is going to happen? Likely happen.
Doesn't happen.
What do you think is likely going to happen if she continues down this path? Inside of 9 years, likely will have a baby, because that's this path. 80% of our children are born out of wedlock because we have mothers who don't prioritize relationships with their daughters. They prioritize making sure that their daughters have jobs and careers and degrees and debt and everything else. Because you don't even have it in your life, because the main thing that's running through your head is fear and this and that. And I'm like, this is a cycle.
I know. And
it has to stop with you ladies. Your generation of women has to get real about your lives, where it is, and what you've done to the younger women, because you're the women that they're looking at. That's why I have so many young women calling into my show, because you're their mother.
And I can accept that 100%. Because now that I've, gotten older and kind of look back over things, most of the things that you have said, it's been true. But how do I undo a lot of the things that I have done? And that's
you have to own it. You have to own it first.
Right.
When somebody tells you something, hold on. When somebody tells you something, you don't say, no, this isn't it. No, that is it. And just like, here's the thing.
But that was the
Here's,
first
listen. One of the biggest issues right now is at 47, you're still in a position, right, wrong, or indifferent, where you're still trying to salvage the bit of life you have left to get some happiness out of it.
Okay.
And the difference is, we had grandparents our age, they didn't have to do that. They were married for 20 plus years. They weren't single. Single people are individual. They're not worried about it. You're worried about your dating options. When your focus should really be if we were children, the women your age, their focus was us. Their focus was, come over to Granny's house. I'm gonna bake my baby some cookies. Come stay with grandmama. Can I go? Who let that baby stay over here? You will be in tug of war between your mom and your grandparents' house or your auntie's house. We had an abundance of love because we didn't have a bunch of goddamn single women trying to get out here and ride the train and figure out how to expand their options. Their option was in the other room, even if the man had passed on. We got a bunch of single, older women who are looking at their daughters and saying, I made a mistake. I didn't know, but mama got a life too, and I don't have but another good 10 years before and it's human nature. Human nature, survival, is hardwired into us, and so many of our Generation X women are trying to have a relationship to survive. The very thing that you didn't prioritize in your youth. And the sad part is, maybe the answer is not that you get your relationship. Maybe the answer is you actually help your daughters. You give her better choices than you had.
And that's what I have been doing. Like, I totally agree with you. And I've been trying to figure that out, that I don't want to be a stumbling block for her. Like, I want her to possibly get married one day and have a family because I didn't have that opportunity. So when she does meet someone, I'm not trying to sabotage it. I try to support her the best way I can.
The reason many daughters don't get married is because they don't want to leave their mothers.
And I can see that with my own daughter, and I'm pushing.
Like, I know, ma'am. I studied this material.
And I agree. Like right
now. So
my
point is, listen.
Mm-hmm.
It's how you may understand, and what you can speak aspirationally, but if you're not actually telling your daughter, don't worry about mama, I want you to have a husband.
I told her that. I've said that.
But you gotta. You've been on this planet long enough to know it's not what we say, it's what we do.
And I agree with you on that. I agree.
So when we talk about relationships, when you tell me about your relationship history, it's all negative.
It sucks. It does.
Then how can you speak positive to her?
I mean, like I said, Kevin, it's like one of the things that I recognize. Like, I recognize my mistakes. I take ownership of my mistakes. I'm not trying to
get you to take ownership of a mistake. What I'm trying to get you to understand is you can't do it alone.
I understand, and I know that too. Like, I have my brother.
This is one thing that I think older women are going to start doing. You're going to start bringing your daughters around men.
Right.
Because the only thing you have to pull from to talk to your daughter about is relationships that didn't work. And your issues with that man.
I totally agree. And that's the one thing that I did try. Like, when I do date, I do try to bring, like, if I do go out on a date and I'm comfortable with the person, I try to let my daughter see me date, to see the bad, the good, and the ugly. So
that's not what I'm talking about, ma'am.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm glad you said it because it is still about you.
Okay. And I don't want to make it about me, so.
It is. It's about you. This is what I mean. This is why so many young women are coming to these platforms because, like it or not, whether you intend it or not, your generation failed these women. And y'all need to own it. Y'all failed these women.
Okay.
Because we are quick to say that our father's generation failed us. We're quick to say deadbeat dads and absentee fathers. Well, goddamn it, it's time for y'all to start admitting we have failed our daughters. We do not speak about relationships with men as anything to be positive, happy, or to build any kind of anticipation. Do your daughters, do black daughters, what is going on with your speaker? Jesus Christ. Hold on.
You have an echo?
Hold on. Hello?
Yes, I can hear you perfectly fine.
Do black daughters look at relationships like children looked at Christmas morning?
I could say mine's probably don't.
Do black daughters look at relationships like children looked at Christmas morning?
I would say mine's probably don't.
Do black daughters, not just yours?
Okay, I would say no. I would say probably say no.
Then that is a failing of the mothers.
And I can take ownership of my part, yes.
Because Chris, because you know what I'm talking about. When you
I think all single mothers should take this advice, because yeah, single mothers or single fathers think they give their kids the best education way, and forgetting that anytime the future can change. Men are not good people. Men don't take responsibility. They tend to focus on what they pass, like what they went through, than telling that generation that, you know what, men are good people. Men can live. Men, you can get a supportive husband. Instead, we shall put that information that men are not good people to our daughters, because for us we went through shit, not knowing that things can change on our way, you know. So the most single mothers tend to put in their daughters, you know, you can be a better girl, a better woman without a man, as I did it, you know. So the women tend to like to feed in information that you can be a better woman, you can achieve education, you can be better, you can own businesses, you can be a CEO, you can be wherever you want without a man. So not that life depends on a man. Forgetting that if you tell your daughter that, you know what, life is all about this and this, I failed, but you may achieve better than me. You may get a good husband, you may get a supportive husband, you may get a supportive and loving man. So we tend to put the blame on our kids, sons, and wherever. We tend to blame our kids for our sins, yet we can upgrade to for better them. We can tell them that love is good, love is sweet, even if you've failed, but you can still put in information. And another thing, as ladies, we are so like you feel like you want to date, but you still fear to date. So how will you know the workability? How will you know how you can date someone if you don't try? So at the end of the day, you will isolate yourself from people. 5 years, imagine 5 years in the house and you don't want to talk to anyone because you were disappointed somewhere. Someone disappointed you in the relationship you were in, so you fear to date. Then after like some years, that's when you'll be like, yeah, I think I'm ready to date. When it's too late for you to date, at times you're becoming old, you can't date. Let me say you're at the age of being a grandmom or a grandpapa. That's when you think of dating, and already you have kids who are in the dating process. So there is no time or space for you to tell your kids or your grandies that, you know what, life is all about this and this. You always put the blame on people, like you always put the blame on the sons and the daughters, like you always carry your blame to your kids. You always be like, I would do this, so though your dad left me or your mom left. So I think Calvin, he's very right. Samuel is very right, because as ladies we tend to put the blame on our kids. Yeah, the kids weren't there when we're dating. We tend to put the failed relationships into other kids, young generation. We tend to put our failed relationships into young generations. Yeah, they can make theirs better, or they can get people better than us, though it's a chance. Yeah, but we tend to do that. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share for more updates. But this is true. You need to listen to this. Any parent is there. Actually, it's so helpful for a parent who gave up and they feel like their kids may not need a man, or they may not need a lady. This is not one-sided, yeah. So even this gives you hope that you can date at any age and at any time. Anytime and at any age, a soulmate can come around. So there's no need of losing hope and like faith about anything, then getting rid of anything. You see someone dating, you feel like they are going to end their relationship because they ended some years back, and you shouldn't be there. You shouldn't keep yourself away from relationship because the one you had didn't even last. So yeah, you have to be, if you're not exemplary, at least teach your kids how it really works, that yeah, it can work. But yeah, you be like, you know what, it can work, everything can work as long as you believe. Yeah, don't forget to like, subscribe. Thank you so much.